Everybody, good morning. This is Jean here from True Love Quilts for You. Today I'm going to be doing a little tutorial, and I just wanted to tell you how I've come up with this. Somebody commented, Bonnie Lee commented on one of my tutorials that I make things that are functional and practical, but I put a pretty spin on them. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I wonder why I do that. I like pretty things. I make pot holders that look pretty. I make arm caddies that look pretty. I like pretty things around me. So the basic of basics things is what I'm going to be doing a tutorial today. Might be a nice gift. It took me literally half an hour to make it. Might probably you. It's a tissue box holder. But isn't it pretty? It's practical. Right? It's practical. You stick your tissue box in there. Your tissues come up, and it has a little grommet on the outside, so it's nice and finished off. It's fully lined tissue box holder. And actually, look what I've done. I've actually put two little pockets in. So you can make this and like put a little pack of pills in for like your pillhead friend, or like a chapstick, you know, for like people who are like obsessed with chapstick or something. There's a little present for you. But I have to tell you, this is the tutorial we're doing at this like burgundy. It matches my bedroom actually. And that's the point. You can make these to match a man's, like a masculine one. These are my prototypes, but let me tell you how I started out. I had the idea in my head, and I went on Pinterest, and there's some, and I found similar, but the instructions were really hard, so I messed about with it. This was my first one, and it looks good. It looks good, but I didn't know what I was doing. I tried to do the whole thing with the stiffening interfacing. Too difficult. So that was that one, and it was a little bit too big. Then I went to this one because that was too big, and I thought, oh, I'll make a pretty one. This was too small. And again, I used that stiffening interfacing. Nah, didn't work. That's pretty though. And also they're little boxes. Look, aren't they? Well, with holes in the bottom. You don't want the box with a hole. But like we're making little boxes. Anyway, that was that one. That was too big, too small. This one, oh yeah, I put the pocket on here, and then I went to hem it, and I messed up the pocket. So I'm like, well, that didn't work. But I'm getting there. And then I did this one, and I was quite pleased. So every one I made, I had tissue boxes, pot holders and tissue boxes. Oh my word. So I finally honed in on it, and I perfected it. So this is the perfect tissue box holder that we're going to be doing a tutorial on today. So this is it. A nice little present. You can make them in all sorts of things, and actually pretty or practical and pretty. I think I mentioned it as I was sewing. I actually bought I splurged because I'm into garage sales and flea markets and thrift stores. But I went to, I think, Bed Bath & Beyond in this country. I think I spent like 25 bucks because I didn't have a coupon that day. Where are my 20% coupons? I spent like $26 on like a ceramic one with little flowers, beautiful, like roses. And I'm not. That's not my. That's not me. I'm totally. That's not me. But I thought I wanted to match my new bathroom. But look, this is a scrap of fabric and a few hunks of interfacing. Oh, the one thing that will cost you a little bit of money if you don't have a coupon is the grommets. I addressed that in my tutorial. These might cost you a few bucks, but you get 8 of them in a package, so you can make. I've already made 5. Does anybody want? I'm out of fire sale tissue box covers. But anyway, that's our little tutorial for today, folks. Nice little present. Again, I hope I've explained it enough, well enough for you. You only need a few bits. What you will need special that you probably don't have in your sewing room are the grommets that you can get pretty much anywhere. A craft store. They're drapery making. For drapery making. I got them for about $13, but I had a coupon at Joann Fabrics. I don't know other countries, sorry. And a little bit of this stiffening interfacing, just a little piece. And then literally scraps of, you can use up leftover pieces of iron-on interfacing to make this. And pretty much like a fat quarter. An 18-inch square and an 18-inch piece of lining. Anyway, that's our little tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. So, I have a cough. So, There you go. Practical, pretty. This one's for you, Bonnie Lee. See ya. For our little tissue holder, what we're going to be needing is these few things. Not a lot. We're going to be needing 2 pieces of fabric. I actually used a fat quarter and cut it down. 2 pieces of fabric, the main fabric and a lining fabric, which is anything. I just used a piece of muslin. 2 pieces 18 inches square of the main fabric and lining fabric. 18 inches square. You could cut down a fat quarter. You're going to be needing of a stiff iron-on interfacing. I got the Pellon 808 Craft Fuse. You're going to be needing 8 5-inch squares of the Pellon iron-on interfacing. 8 of them. You're going to be needing a piece of Peltex. Now remember, we made this for our handbag. It's a very hard, stiffening, fusible product. It's called Peltex. I don't know what it is in other countries, but it's by Pellon in this country. It's a hard piece of stabilizer, and we need 1 piece 5 1/4 inches. That's fairly important, that Peltex. And then we're going to need, I think I'm going to try to do another pocket. I just cut out a 6-inch square of the lining. I think I'll do it on this one. I'm not sure how it's going to end up. And a piece of about 3 inches by 6 inches piece of iron-on interfacing. And then the last thing we need is the actual grommets, which are these. Now these, as I was saying, are drapery. They're in the drapery department, at least in this country. These are 1 9/16 inch grommets. Really interesting. That's the only difficult thing about this. Really, it's not even difficult. It's very easy actually. But this is what you need specifically to make our pretty decorative tissue box here. 1 9/16 curtain grommets. I guess you could make them smaller or bigger. They come in black, silver, gold, bronze. Like a brushed nickel, but I got these. They come 8 in a pack, so I could make 8. I can make 8 of these. Why I want to, I don't know, but you can make 8 of them, and they're not cheap. These were about $13 for the 8 of them, but I got them. I got a coupon for 30% off. So, and I've already opened these. Excuse that, but I'll show you how to make that because this is important. And then actually, what you're going to be needing is a nice square ruler. So when we start cutting out our things, I'll show you how we do that. So I have my 18-inch square of my lining fabric and my main fabric. Now this looks a little bit crazy, and you don't really, I mean, you have to be exact, but not really, because this is going to be in the seam allowance. And what I'm going to be doing is a little, you might think it's a little unconventional. You're going to fold this in half as best you can to match up the sides. Fold it in half that way, and then we're going to fold it in half again, just matching up our corners, making sure it's nice and smooth. And then what we're going to be using is we're going to be taking our square, and we're going to be finding on the cut edge here, on the cut edge, the fold and the fold over here, we're going to be finding our 6 1/4 inch mark. 6 1/4 inch right there. We're going to line that up there, 6 1/4 inch to 6 1/4 inch. And it may not be, I mean, you know, some of your fabrics might not come together. It's going to be fine. Well, how am I going to do this? Yeah, I got to cut it this way. So here I am. There's my 6 1/4 inch on the top there, and my 6 1/4 inch along there on the cut sides. And we're going to be cutting out this. Yeah, it's all right. This piece of this square here. I'm going to do that, and then And actually, I said you could, I said cut out a piece of a 6-inch square for the pocket. This is one of them. You could use this for a pocket. And that's a nice scrap. That's a nice bit of scrap. So you're going to open this up now. The lining and the top. And what do we have? We have a cross type of looking piece of fabric. Now, what we are going to be doing is on both sides of the lining and of our fabric, the wrong side, this lining doesn't have a right or wrong side, but the wrong side of our fabric and the lining, I'll do the lining first. What we are going to do is we're going to be putting our interfacing fuse side down right at that line, right along here. 4 pieces. Fuse side down. I'm going to go to the ironing board and I'm going to iron this. I'm going to be doing it the same exact way with my, on the wrong side of my body fabric. My 4 pieces fused size down. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to fuse this. So you're going to have this extra bit here. You just want that, just eye it up along that cut edge there. This 5-inch piece. I'm going to go fuse that. I fused my interfacing 5-inch squares both to my body of my tissue holder and my lining of my tissue holder. Just put them aside for a minute. Now, this is the only tricky part. It's not even tricky. With this grommet kit, you will receive this template, as it were. Let me see if you can see that. This template, I've already used a red Sharpie, so that's what that is. It's a template to mark the hole that you're going to need. It's really a cool thing. The reason I'm doing this step is the grommets were meant to go just through fabric, to squeeze. You cut out your hole and then you put your grommet on, as I will show you. I've tried to do it through this stabilizer. It's miles too thick. So this was my little method of getting around that. Now, I've cut my 5 1/4 inch of stabilizer, and I can just, that's going to go in the middle over here, at the top, okay? This is the piece that goes on the top of our tissue box. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to eyeball it. You can center it by all means if you want to use a ruler and get the exact center. I'm pretty good. I can just eyeball the center of my square here, and they have a little groove that you can just mark. I'm just going to be marking this with my template, this circle here. Now, what I want to do is, this is fairly important. This this hole that you cut out is to affix this on, the fabric. But what I need to do is I need to cut this hole about 1/4 inch larger than this red circle. I won't explain to you why, but just follow along with me. How I do that, I'm just going to cut a small hole in the middle, like that, and then I'm going to just go up about 1/4 inch outside that red circle. Hopefully this is in, yeah, outside. So I'm just going to take my nice sharp scissors and I'm going to cut just around, following that red line about 1/4 inch, just around the outside of this circle, because the grommet will not fit over this. It won't fit over this heavy material here. So now what we do with that, we can just put this aside. What we want to do is we want to take the body of our fabric, the body of our thing, and we want to just center that right on that center bit there. And we're going to go fuse as best we can this piece of Peltex down to the top of our tissue box. I've ironed down my stiffening stabilizer to the center of our little package here. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to, with the wrong sides together, the interfacing to the interfacing, I'm just going to position my lining onto my main body fabric. And turning it around, just make sure it's been cut pretty good. Turning it over now, we want to, if you want to, come along and just pin it to secure it a little bit. What we're going to do is I'm going to be stitching, just pin this here to secure it. I'll take you over to my machine and I'll show you. I'm going to be stitching a line from one corner, or starting at about 1/2 inch. You don't have to worry about that corner. About 1/2 inch, eyeballing it right along the center of the block, and you're going to be feeling the corner of this square Peltex block inside here. You can feel the corner of it. You're just going to catch the corner. You're just going to go from that point over to this, just catch that corner, and then back down to this corner here. From that corner just to that corner. Just catching that piece of stabilizer in there. You're going to be doing the exact same thing on every corner. From this corner right through the block here, and you can just feel it. You can just feel, just catch the little bit, just a little bit of edge, that corner right there, and then come back down. It's not exactly a straight line, but you're gonna, and you'll compensate. So you just come over to here to this corner, and then you just sort of shift your needle to come back down to this corner. You're going to be doing that on all 4 sides, just catching that little corner of that bit of stabilizer. Then, and I'll show you how I'm going to be doing it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be able to feel the Peltex in here, and I'm just going to do a top stitching. I'm just going to catch that with a square just along the top of that, just about 1/4 inch in. You can feel this where you're going to be stitching, just so we secure this Peltex. You could do it from the inside, but I quite like the I quite like seeing my stitches from the outside, but you can see it here better. Do you see that? Don't worry about this circle here. So we're just going to be on the other side, be securing with a squared, this square with a nice stitch. We're going to be doing that down, but our stitching will have come from this corner all the way through down to this corner. And we're going to be doing that until we have an X on each bit here, and then inside we're going to be having a square around that hole. So here's the hole in our tissue box for our grommet. And what I've done is I've actually taken the template and I've actually gone and I've lined it up on that hole that I cut. I'm quite pleased with that. I could have made it slightly bigger, but my grommet does fit. So if you just be very careful, just take nice sharp scissors. You want the Peltex to be bigger and this to be just about that size. I'm pretty good with that. That's my template there. Now, this is like a miracle. These are so cool. What you have is, I've taken out 2 of them. You have a 2-part piece of this grommet. You have one with little prongs, and then you have one with just a channel, an edging inside. What we're going to do, turn it over, and you're going to place the channel piece down underneath your pole, just aligning it. And what I've sort of find out with my prototypes, I've just sort of tucked that piece around, that fabric around into that grommet edge there. Fits really nice because you've cut it nice. And then all you do is you put this on top of it, and then, wonder of wonders, you just, with the palm of your hand, I don't know if you heard that, it just clicks into place. Done. It is affixed, and we have a perfectly lovely, beautiful hole. I just think that's so cool. Like, I mean, I know they're for curtains, but like, that's so cool. So anyway, that's the top of our whatever this thing is, a tissue box. Okay, I could have centered it a bit more. That's fine. Now, I think I will attempt. I was saying about my pocket. I put a pocket on. I didn't put a pocket on that one. Where did I put a pocket? Oh, I put a pocket on this one. And then when I went to hem it, it hemmed too big. The hem caught it, and the pocket's sort of useless. So that was a bit dumb. This pocket, this would have been good, but again, I think the hem would have taken it up. Are you understanding what I'm saying? This pocket's okay, like for chapstick, or look for a pen in the office. You can just stick. I mean, I think it's pretty cool, you know. So I'm going to attempt to do this pocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my iron-on interfacing to half of my 6-inch square, and then I'm going to just fold that in half and iron it. And then what I'll do is, I think on one side, doesn't matter, I'll put my pocket a bit higher, because I would say, see, our hem, let me see if I can explain this. This piece is only 5 inches here, from finished top to hem, okay? So we're doing 5 inches from here, from about this point down. So this bit, which we don't have the interfacing in, you see, is going to be our hem. But I want to catch my pocket, but not like down here, because then I lose my pocket, right? So I'm going to attach my pocket about, I'd say 3/4, once I iron it, about 3/4 of an inch up. I'll see how that works. It doesn't. So then I'm just going to stitch my pocket. I'm going to iron my pocket, put it on one side, about 3/4 of the way up, and then I'm going to just stitch it. You see my center guide point right there? I'm just going to stitch it right down the middle, reinforcing that edge, that top, and we'll see how that goes. So hopefully you can see, I've done my pocket, I've attached the interfacing, I've stitched it down on one side, and on the bottom I have actually done that. And that's sort of at the top, that's sort of where the interfacing, might want to turn it up a little bit, but hopefully I'll be able to hem it. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see how it works out. I might have to forego the pocket idea, but if it works, it works. Excuse me, and I've just stitched it down. So we have 2 little pockets like this. But now, the exciting part, because we're almost done actually. We're going to be taking the right sides, pretty sides, together, and putting, hopefully I can show you, we're going to be, I keep coughing. You're going to be attaching you're going to be matching up the bottom edges and the side edges, and just push this out of the way. It'll recover, don't worry. And remember our little stitching line. Hopefully you can see that. Our little stitching line that just caught the corner of it. You're just going to start at the top there of that stitching line, right at that stitching line. Oh boy, oh boy. And then I go down a good 1/2 inch. Now this is a point where we do sort of have to jiggery poker it about to fit our specific tissue box holder, but right now we're going to go down about 1/4 inch, starting at that line up there, back stitching. You can see you're actually catching the interfacing there, but these edges are matched along this one side. You're catching the pocket actually, and I actually just slightly start about 1/2 inch and just slightly go in just a little bit wider than 1/2 inch. And you'll see this edge here, this is the part here that goes around our box. Just about, oh boy, just about a little bit more. What I'm going to do, as you know how I reinforce everything, I'm not going to do that at this point. And I'll show you what we do. I'm going to address every seam just like we did. I'm going to push that middle bit aside. I'm going to match up these corners here. They match up really nice. We've cut them well. The bottom corner and the corners. My lining is a little bit bigger. It's fine. And then I'm going to find that stitching where I stitched up here, where I stitched right there. And I'm going to push that down. It will recover, don't worry. I'm going to go to the top where that stitching is. Oh, do you believe it? Anyway, my thread unraveled. It does that sometimes. Like I said, thank goodness for automatic threaders. So I'm just going to do this again on my next box. I'm going to match up my seams. It just matches perfectly to make this box. And I'm going to go to where that stitching line that we did. And again, I will just reinforce that just at the top for now. And start about 1/2 inch and just go slightly larger than 1/2 inch. We may have to take this seam in, and I'll show you why. I erred on the larger side. You can always make your seams smaller, but you can't add to them. So that's how I learned. It was like Goldilocks. I made one, too small. I made one too large, and hopefully this one will be what? Just right. So here we go. I've matched up my pretty sides together, and I'm coming to the top where that stitching line was. About 1/2 inch, a little bit longer, and just a slight hair narrower at the bottom. Just a slight hair. And then we're going to fit it actually onto our tissue box. Look, we've made a box. This is the coolest thing. You can actually, without the hole in the bottom, you could just actually make boxes. Oh, look at all these threads. You know me and my threads. I got to get rid of them. But I'll come back and I'll show you how we do the seams. I'm going to find that, push this stuff out of the way, match these sides up, find my X as it is, my marking. Start at that X. That's about 3/4 inch, but I think that's going to be good. Coming down and just securing that. Now I'll address our raw seams and everything, and I'll get rid of all of these. But right now, what I want to do is I want to get our actual tissue box here. Hopefully you can. Is that in the frame? Yeah, it's pretty good. Let me just put this camera up a little bit. Yeah, so here we have our tissue box. Now, we're just going to go and there. Now, I'm thinking, forget the hem, it's a little bit too big, but I turn it over, and I think, well, I just want it maybe slightly, I don't know, I don't know, you want it, but no, you know something, I think that's okay. Maybe just 2 of them, I don't know. No, I think I'm just going to leave this one like it is and make it slightly larger. I think that, because you don't want to be messing. The one I have in my bathroom, I have to really sort of almost squeeze my box together to shove it in, and it cost me $25 from Bed Bath & Beyond. It's a China thing, but my word, Like this is a hunk of fabric, right? So I like that. Just stick it in, done. Pull your things up, done. So now I'm assured I like that. Might be slightly too big, but I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that. Now, what I want to do, you're never going to see this, but what I am going to do is I'm going to trim this up here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get rid of all my edges. I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to reinforce this seam. Not that it's, not that it's going anywhere, but I'm just going to reinforce it because there was like 6 or 7 things of fabric there. So I'm going to reinforce the seam, and then what I'm going to do with a pair of pinking shears, I'm just going to pink that. Just so it's sort of the inside. It's lined, but it's not like finished. There's no French seams or anything, but come on, it's a tissue box holder. What do you want? So here we go. So I'm going, actually this one I can just make slightly narrower. In fact, I'm going to do that because it was just a hair. I won't start at the top. I'll just come down just a hair. Hopefully, yeah, this is it. Just a hair, just make that little bottom just slightly. Yeah, I like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinforce my seams and pink my edges, and then I'll show you how we do the rest. Now, as you can see, I've sort of fitted my box in there, and it fits really, really nice. I'm very pleased with my little thing. I've not turned it inside out yet, and I've trimmed up all my seams. If you can see, I've used my pinking shears along here. It just makes, I just like to finish things off nicely. Now we're done except for our little hem. Now, as you've known, because we put the 5-inch piece of interfacing, this is just lining and fabric. And we can just turn that really nice, and it makes its own little hem, if you can see that. Now, I am aware of my pocket. What I've done already is I've actually turned in my hem, which is about 1 inch. I'm just going to turn it in another, I'll go about 1/2 inch. I'm going to pin that along. I will actually pin this, maybe even a little bit less. I really have a tickle in my throat. It's very strange. I don't smoke or anything like that. It feels like isn't that funny? It feels like the fibers have gotten in my throat or something. Oh my word, do you believe that? So I'm going to be making my hem. I'm going to be stitching it on my free arm. Really, if you don't have one, look at that. Like, how nice. I'm just going to come along and stitch this. I'm going to iron it about 1/4 inch, and I actually will try to open up this seam here if I can. Oh, I double stitched that. I can't do that one. But that's okay. It's just a little bit thick. But my machine will do it. I'm just going to make the hem. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make the hem as small as possible. That's all. We know, because this is 5 inches from this point to this point, we know that that's going to fit our box nice, so that the hem is right at the bottom on your desk or your work surface there. So this is what I'm going to be doing now. I'm just going to, from the inside, I do have to do this from the inside, I'm just going to stitch a little bit more than 1/4 inch, tucking my hem under all the while on these seams, and make as small a hem as I can. I have about 1 inch and a bit to work with, so maybe if it ends up 1/2 inch, a bit more than 1/4, that's what it is. But I'm good. You can feel the interfacing right there, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to turn it inside out, and I'll show you my finished product. I've done hemming my little tissue box holder here, and I managed to do it pretty small, about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, all the way around. And now just have to turn it inside out, and it is done. And what I do is I just sort of push. I mean, there's no rhyme and reason. I just sort of grab this, trying not to mess that center up too much with that Peltex. I just push the sides out. It's really nice and stiff with the interfacing. Push my corners out here. Go through on that little point there, which we've sewn. That was our guideline. And then voila, look. And I'm real pleased. Look, my pocket, my pocket turned out for my little chapstick or my pen. look, I'm really pleased because I made the hem narrow enough. So that was the trick. I must remember that. That was the trick, to put the pocket up a little bit. So now, I mean, you know me and my ironing. I just like, I mean, it's really nice. It's a tissue box holder. But like, I just go in with my iron and I sort of press it along, press it nicely. Pull, this one corner has to be popped out a bit more. There we go, make that nice square. Our Peltex has made that square. And let me see, put it over our tissue box. Just slides down nicely. And there is our tissue box holder. Nice squared off corners, nice squared off top. And if you're in the office and you need a seam ripper, there you go. Or you need a, let's see, you need a free motion foot. Quilting foot. Oh, actually, you can put it in your sewing room, right? Oh, what the heck? You could pockets on all corners. Actually, what a good idea. Oh, aren't I clever? Look, I have like 65,000 seam rippers. You could put 65,000 seam rippers all the way along for all you people who rip seams. Look. So anyway, I just think like maybe even literally maybe a few pockets. I just think on a pretty desk you can make any, and this is make a nice guy gift for his office, as I was saying in the beginning. So anyway, there is our little tutorial. I hope you love it. I hope you love it. So Bonnie Lee, this is for you. This is functional, pretty, practical. So, hope you love it, folks. Thanks for our little tutorial on our little tissue box holder. Okay, bye.